I felt like this movie, I walked out, I was like, why did it feel old school? Why did it feel 80s? Why did it feel a bit like the old one? I was like, oh, this movie was about a nuclear family.
Right?
And literally a nuclear family.
And in a nuclear family.
They got nuclear accelerators strapped to their backs. I mean, like that's. But here's why I think some liberal critics may be trying to trash this movie without totally admitting why. It's because it's championing the traditional mom, dad, 2 kids nuclear family, and they're these Spanglers. They're not just a bunch of individuals. They're a household, and I'll come back to household in a bit too. But it's the idea, like the end of the movie, it's like we're the Spanglers, like we're under one banner, one household, one name.
Yeah.
And Phoebe, throughout the course of this movie too, a primary focus is her acting out, which kind of goes from bad to worse. And Gary has to step up. Gary Gruberson, he has to make that move from, instead of being a buddy, which he kind of has been in the last movie and this movie, he has to actually start parenting. And there's that one moment mid-movie where he chastises Phoebe, and Phoebe just walks out of the room, and the mom turns to him and says, "Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it?"
Yeah.
But they need to do it. And I also love the way that Callie tells her son, she's like earlier in the movie, he's like, "I'm an adult. Come on, I'm old enough now. I'm an adult." Then later, he says something. He asks her to, "Oh, I got this problem. Something's in the attic." She's like, "You're an adult, right? Go figure it out."
She
kind of makes him step up. She is teaching him in a way that like a parent should, and kind of calls him up. Like, you take care of the attic. You say you're an adult. Well, then go be an adult. And I feel like culture today has sort of ceded too much household control to the children in the family. I mean, my goodness, it's not only like children get to decide what's for dinner or where you go out to eat, but it's what their gender is, for pity's sake. Right? I mean, seeing a movie where the parents struggle, but ultimately lay down the law is kind of a nice and refreshing change from parents rolling over and letting kids decide everything about their entire lives.
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy. Proverbs 1:8, but we've been going through the Proverbs in my church, and Proverbs 1:8 says, "Listen, my son, to your father's instruction. Don't reject your mother's teaching." And that's what the kids have to grapple with in this movie is we need to listen to mom and dad. Proverbs 22 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he's old, he will not depart from it." I think that's even true with Nadim. I think that, and Phoebe.
Yeah.
I think that verse still works, even if a child has a prodigal moment or even a prodigal season. I think there's some encouragement in that. Like you need to lay down the law. You need to teach and parent well, and those things will come back. And I mean, I'm kind of a poster child for that. Like I was probably off the ranch from 15 to 25, but when God finally kind of got hold of me at 25, everything my parents inculcated has had like lasting value the next 25 of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
The way I've always described Christian parenting is it's like handling your kid a mold. Like you can form a mold of a Christian life, but your kid has to pour their life into it and figure out whether their life is going to be Christ shaped or not. And so even if you're not, even if when I was a kid, I was basically a good kid, okay. I like Jesus, he saved me and stuff, but it was only a little later until I actually started to understand Jesus as Lord, actually be a disciple, that the mold became really useful because all of these things that they had passed on to me started to make sense, and it all started to click into place